Mr. Chairman, if I could take a moment to just talk about the CARES Act and the CARES funding and what we're up to here at the county with some of that funding. As many people know, and hopefully are starting to hear the advertisements and outreach that's going on. There are $7.2 million in grant funds available through the CARES Act for small businesses, nonprofits, and tourism-related businesses, and that first window of application for those grants began on Tuesday, September 1st. Everything an applicant would need to know should be available on LebanonCountyCares.com. Seems to be going smoothly so far. We do have a few dozen applications in, so and we've been answering some questions. There's an email for information for anyone who might have a question that's not answered on the frequently asked question attachment. We are going to, this afternoon and this evening, we're going to have 2 webinars for any applicants who might not have gotten their question answered through the FAQ or through the ability to email us a question, or just maybe want to sit in and make sure they've got it all covered. But the application is fairly simple. We just felt we ought to do a bit more outreach and give a couple of live webinars and the opportunity to ask questions. So those are at 3 o'clock this afternoon and 6 p.m. this evening. And those are on the county. There's a link to it on the county's website. I believe also on LebanonCountyCares.com. So again, this is the first round, September 1st through September 15th. Then those awards will be announced on or before September 30th. And then we're going to take a little bit of a 2-week period to sort of tweak the process in case there's anything that we discovered that wasn't working well or was working better than expected and we didn't to do more of. We're going to do another round then on October 15th through October 30th, with those awards announced November 15th. And then we'll regroup and see if there are funds left over, how to go about dealing with that, and hopefully be able to help as many businesses and nonprofits as possible. So again, I would direct them to LebanonCountyCares.com, and hopefully those questions are going to be answered in the FAQ, and if not, then we'll be happy to do it through the email or through the webinar. I see Laura LeBeau has a hand raised probably on that. Mr. Chairman, is that all right to acknowledge?
Yeah, I just wanted to add to your comments. There, you mentioned 7.2, so that we know we have 10 million on the one side of the ledger. So there's some monies that are not included in the applications that are now out there. And also the 2.8 million that we have for the mask program that we need to launch. We'll have some timing announcements on that forthcoming, within the next foreseeable time that we can get underway with that, so the public will know what direction we're taking.
Yeah, I was going to segue to that after this, but just to mention the additional above the 7.2 million, there is assistance there for municipalities, the local economic development corporation, and there are a couple of different categories that are between the 7.2 and the $10 million that are going to be utilized directly in other ways. So I don't know if Laura still has her question or not. Yeah,
we can bring Laura in.
Well, thank you, Chairman Commissioner Phillips. You stole my thunder a little bit because I did want to ask about the mask campaign. A lot of people have been asking me, what's the deal with that aspect of this agreement? And I don't know if Jamie or any of you have any more expanded commentary on that particular aspect of the agreement.
Yeah, as most people know, the money was provided after the settlement with the governor's office was agreed to, and the funds only came to the county August 21st. So we have a pretty compressed timeline here compared to what other counties have who got their money back in mid-July. So the first priority was to get the grants program going as quickly as we possibly could, because there was a lot of clamoring for that help as well. So we wanted to get that launched, and I'm pretty proud of the group that has contributed to that, from the chamber and the EDC and United Way and Visit Lebanon Valley, that we really got that from the time the money came in about 2 weeks, got that up on a website, and Barb Kaufman, I want to mention her too, for helping out tremendously. So we were pretty happy to get that up as fast as we did. So now it's the move on to the next item, which is the mask campaign. And that is, as many know, a $2.8 million allocation. It's a tremendous amount of money for the period of time available. It must all be utilized by December 30th. So that is next. I know there are a lot of ideas out there, a lot of ideas. I think all the commissioners are getting emails. I'm getting emails. A lot of vendors who are interested in being a part of that. A lot of people who have ideas on how that can be rolled out, and all of those will be considered. At this point, the commissioners have fielded some interest from some agencies who would like to be a big part of that, and I don't know actually whether today that's something you wanted to tackle or not. We certainly can, or if there's some more.
Has Dave reviewed and commented?
I've not gotten back on the contract language on the one proposal, but if it's something you want to address today, it can be, anything you do can be pending that review, as you've often done. But I will certainly leave that up to the board today. Move on to the next few days to still consider what you have in hand, or if you want to move forward.
I'm prepared to entertain a motion if there would be one, subject to the review of our solicitor, considering the timeliness of the issue.
I would certainly entertain a motion. I did review the two proposals, and I want to say thank you to both of the local vendors who took the time to prepare and share their thoughts. They both have good points, but I think the one is really prepared to hit the ground running with more staff, and has a national presence, really, working with 5 Fortune 500 companies and things of that nature. I think that we would get excellent service. I do have a few questions about language in the contract. So my motion is to go with fresh, creative, providing that our solicitor reviews the commentary in the contract and make sure that it is to our best interest.
Well, I can't second that motion as it was presented, because I have concerns other than the language in the contract. My concern is that I don't think we should hand this total ball of wax to one provider without some indication of, or at least make part of the motion that there will be involvement of other agencies and providers of PR services in the county.
Well, sir, under section 1 services,
I read
in
that,
H,
ma'am.
it
Ma'am, I did
says
read
that determine all marketing and advertising
Commissioner
assignments.
Litz, he's acknowledging that he read that. He just was trying to finish his comments. So please just give him another second or two.
I thought he was done. I apologize.
I need to be assured as to how that's going to happen, because I think the other proposal certainly has merit and is also a company that has done significant work for the Chamber of Commerce and Visit Lebanon Valley here in the county. And I certainly don't want to see anyone slighted. The worst thing that we can do is to be eager to get this money spent and have a lot of unhappy businesses and folks within the county. So that's my goal, is to not have that happen.
All right, Commissioner Litz, would you like to add to what you were saying earlier. Go ahead.
Yes, I apologize. I didn't realize he wasn't done. Under services, section 1, and it would be, I guess, I can't say bullet point, but it's H, as in Harry. It says that Fresh Creative will participate in and determine all marketing and advertising services assignments. And with the meeting with Fresh Creative, it was spelled out that we expect to have wide participation by vendors throughout Lebanon County, that this is not just for one entity, but we need a quarterback to coordinate that for us. And that is how I see Fresh Creative servicing us. And like I say, there are a lot of good outlines in here that go to that. And that was just the one that stuck out that I can pull out right now. And I'm very comfortable with the firm. They have, I think, close to 13 employees. The other firm, I think, would do a good job, but they only have 2 people at the helm, and that is the extent of their, they would have to drop all their other clients, just concentrate on us. That's not fair to their other clients. And so I felt more comfortable because if I understood it correctly, 3 of the employees at Fresh Creative will be designated to work with Lebanon County exclusively. And so I think we can hit the ground running and get the money into the hands of our local businesses. And there are many local businesses, 30 to 50 local businesses that provide services that can be utilized by us and by Fresh Creative. So I think it would give a boost to stimulate their businesses. They're not asking for a handout, they're asking for a hand up. They will provide services in exchange for the money they receive.
And Bill, I share your concern that this thing is for in as many businesses as possible throughout the county that relate to this mission that we've been charged with. So I agree, and in my understanding and in reading the offering from Fresh Creative, I really feel comfortable that that's all in there, but I would also assure you that I wouldn't proceed with them unless that were all part of it. So I don't know if that helps you with your motion or seconding it, but that's.
Well, Commissioner Litz said a lot of things that I agree with, although I'm not interested in managing any of the businesses in Lebanon County, as she indicates that she is looking out for one of the provider's customers and so on. I don't think that's our role. However, I would be willing to entertain the motion if she would include some of the things that she said and some of the things that are in the agreement, so that we can have those on record, so that if there are any glitches down the road and we are slighting people that should be involved in this campaign, we have it on the record that our motion included the protection of other providers in the county.
Okay.
No problem with amending my motion to include my comments. Dawn, I know that's a lot of extra work for you, but I'm comfortable with what I proposed. And, I don't know, the first part of when you started to talk, I didn't quite understand that because I was proposing to include businesses, and I'm hoping that's going to happen.
Yeah, I think we can capture that from what you said, Commissioner Litz. Certainly we can go back and look at the video of this meeting if we need to even get some of that detail. But if well, you don't have a second, so I don't want to.
Well,
I'll wait.
And the other thing, I think, I could be wrong on this, but I think Commissioner Litz failed to mention pending review by council.
And I made that up front, that was the first thing I said when I made the main motion.
Okay. Well,
all right, I'll second the motion with the understanding that I will see it at the the conclusion of this meeting or tomorrow or something.
The second vendor, I do anticipate will get some of that work as well. So they will not be totally cut out. It's just who's going to quarterback it. And I think this company's better postured to do the quarterbacking.
Yeah, Commissioner, we already got the second, so don't, go. We're good.
Yeah, don't talk me out of it.
Jamie,
If
you
I
were
could,
going to comment.
I've had conversations with both of the interested parties here, and both equally understand thoroughly and completely that the wish of the board is to include as many possible agencies, vendors, ancillary services, anything and anyone who might be able to play a role and it be a legitimate contribution to this campaign. It's I know that the way the CARES settlement was written, it didn't describe it this way, but it in a way can behave in somewhat of a stimulus manner by providing business to the local vendors. It was described as kind of a three-tier approach. The agencies, any agency available in the county that wants to be a part of this will be considered and utilized to whatever extent possible. Second tier being the vendors, and that means the printers, the publications, the broadcast media, and all of those sorts of vendors that exist out there will be utilized to greatest extent possible. And then lastly, anyone who maybe isn't typically involved in a PR campaign but has an idea and a way. If there's a theater company that wants to do a video, for example, to be part of the mass campaign and has an idea or a concept for production, then that's something that can also be included. So I do think this is going to cast a very broad net, and that has been part of the conversations that I've had, and I think that's very clearly understood.
And Jamie, if I may tag onto that, I did have an inquiry from downtown as well. And I said that everything will have to have the same branding and color scheme and things of that nature. So it pulls together through the theme. And they understood that. So, a videographer can be assigned to do a program for them. And that we could do with, as you say, different theaters, whether it's the community theater or Mount Gretna Theater or any other theater that we have in Lebanon County. We want to support the arts with this as well.
That was just one example. There are a lot of ideas and examples out there that people are throwing around, and this would be the if you approve this motion, Fresh Creative would then become the shortstop to kind of field all of that and determine how it can be utilized, and also handing off some of the placement responsibilities and some of the placement duties with certain types of media. So maybe an agency that handles billboard, maybe an agency that handles print, and so on. I'm getting a little beyond my comfort zone because I'm not in that business, but again, I can't emphasize enough. It's clearly understood that that's the expectation.
And that's a big piece, but the other piece, we want every penny possible to be spent in Lebanon County through those businesses, not going outside. If this can, the impact can be huge in terms of a stimulus, Jamie, as you mentioned, but also, just giving a good shot in the arm to, as you said, players that maybe wouldn't be in those positions otherwise, but they'll fit this, what we're trying to accomplish here through this grant. So, all right, we have a motion and a second. We will get the wording of that so that it's acceptable and understood, but all three of us are in the same mindset as far as what we want this to accomplish across the board to as many businesses as possible related to promoting mask wearing, and we all, that's understood in this motion and second, so we want to make sure the wording is correct. But with that said, all in favor, saying aye.
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 Opposed? So moved.
Alvaro is still with us as a participant. I know she originally raised her hand before we segued into this. Laura, do you still have a question on that?